Hello everyone, and welcome here to this game of StarCraft that I found on reddit.com/r/castit. My name is Thaco, and we will be watching this game played on Yansu between the player in the upper right hand corner as our blue Protoss player. It is Chick. And his opponent in the bottom left hand position as our red Protoss player, it is Dezibell. Now I think it goes without saying, since I just introduced two Protoss players, that we're going to be watching a PvP or Protoss vs. Protoss. And honestly, mirror matchups are one of my favorite things to watch, because it comes down to both players have all the same tech choices available to them, all the same damage doing possibilities, so it's who can either trick their opponents into thinking they went for the different tech route, or who can just be more efficient with their army at different times. So we're just going to wait for this game to get started. And we've seen that no one has gone for anything too crazy. There are no proxy positions out on the map already, no probes moving around trying to sneak into the perfect location. Both players just going for a nice simple gateway right off the bat. And then sending out a scouting probe on both sides of the map. Or they should be. Or they're not. Dezibell hopefully is just checking here, or Chick, sorry, checking around his base here to make sure that there isn't anything proxied up on his side of the map. And that is indeed what he is doing. He just wants to make sure he's not getting tricked. Which means that he won't have a scout in his opponent's base as early as Dezibell will have into Chick's. So he won't have as good a read on what's going on in this game, where Dezibell is going to get right in there, see this gas timing, and see the gateway finishing up, and should know relatively what is going on here. Whereas Dezibell actually got his gas up a little earlier, I think, because I did not see it on the production tab as I was looking at Chick's building. And both players really sticking close to the exact same build, except Dezibell getting that second gas just a little earlier. But both players tossing down those cybernetics cores, and once those are done, we will see those tech pads really open up. Neither player trying to force the other person's probe out of their base. They're happy and content to just let that sit there and get all the scouting read they can, because they don't want to be wasting the mining time of one of their probes by trying to force that out. Because if your opponent doesn't go for it, that means he's getting more minerals than you are. Dezibell adding on a quick second gateway here. Both players getting that stalker out nice and early. Chick is chrono boosting his out, where Dezibell is just letting his build naturally, because Dezibell already has his warp gate started, whereas Chick has not gotten that up and running yet. So that should be where the chrono boost of Dezibell is going. Now it's actually just going into probes. So we see Chick is the first unit on the map, but Dezibell has a actually a quite significant lead on warp gate, and we just saw why. That's because Chick has gone for the Stargate. That is where his gas will be going. He is not as interested in getting up a large gateway force. We also saw that Dezibell got down an additional gateway, and he actually used his early stalker to chase the probe of Dezibell out of his base, meaning that Dezibell does not have any idea that Chick is tossing down this early starport, but he is answering with his own. So his will be a little later. He'll have the starport units a little slower, but we'll have to see what the options are out of there. Of course, you can go for that nice new early game harassing Oracle that was buffed so well in the recent patch. Just incredible movement speed. Getting the scout up the top side of the base. Dezibell had his stalker up there. He did not get the read on the bottom, and his stalker's just losing shields. He should not lose this stalker. It should just be pushed out of the base, as it looks like Chick is going to go for the Oracle back at his base. Dezibell is still finishing his starport. He'll have his mothership core done momentarily, so a photon overcharge might be available by the time Chick gets his Oracle across the map. Chick has his mothership core finished as well. It really depends on what route we see this Oracle take, and it looks like it will be moving across the map down to the bottom, but this mothership core should have decent amount of energy. Actually, no, I don't think it will. If he sends it right over, it won't have the energy needed to rebuff that Oracle, but a second Oracle is en route, and Dezibell was constructing an Oracle of his own that just finishes, taking the shorter route across the map. But that doesn't matter, because Chick's Oracle is here. Chick's Oracle is ready to go. And that mothership core does not have the energy to... Oh, there they are. Two stalkers are in the base. It's been scouted. The Stalkers of Dezibell are up in Chick's base doing good damage. Photon Overcharge being drawn out there. Oracles, I think, passing each other and seeing what is going on. So Chick should keep Stalkers back. He also needs the Stalkers to defend against his opponents. And this Oracle is getting a lot of damage put on it by these Stalkers that are defending. And it has not gotten any kills yet. So far, Chick's Oracles have been completely worthless, whereas Dezibell hasn't actually sent his in yet, so he does not know whether or not he's going to be able to get any damage done. He draws all the Stalkers out with his Stalkers. Does he choose to send his Oracle in there? No, he does not. The Oracles of Chick are moving into Dezibell's base. The Stalkers are out of position. They are activated. There is the Photon Overcharge, but that is going to be drones falling as he brings his units back. There are no shields. First Oracle falls, and the second Oracle falls. The Oracle of Dezibell is moving up into Chick's base. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stalkers being morphed in. 6, 7, 8, 9. 8. There's the 9 and the 10th before he is able to. 11. 12 possibly? No, the 12th before. 11 before it got killed off. So that was 11 to 7 killed off, and the Stalkers of Dezibell are back up in that base, but they're going to be pushed back by this Zealot and Stalker force for Chick. Both teams' Oracles doing significant amounts of damage, but here's the problem, that Chick actually went for 2, whereas Dezibell only used 1 and did not actually have to warp in defensive units to force it back. He does have 2 starports in play now. He's going to use those for Phoenix production, whereas Chick is going to continue to just pump out Oracles out of his starport. There are 3 Phoenixes in play for Dezibell. There's a huge army of units flooding down across the map here for Chick. Dezibell did use a lot of his minerals to expand to this location, so he does not have a whole lot of army left at this point. In fact, he has a lot actually somewhere. Up at the top of his ramp, he has a good army, but the Phoenixes are up at the top of the base trying to do some harassment. Actually, some really effective harassment here, as they are able to bring down quite a few probes, but there's the army of Chick moving down into the natural. He pulled down the pylon. I think Dezibell trying to wait till he's no longer right at the base of the ramp before he goes in. Also, he wants to get those Phoenixes back. He wants to use those lifts in order to help defend some. This is a Zealot battle. Time warp on the ramp means that Dezibell can't very efficiently bring his troops down. Chick's Zealots do tear down the Zealots for Dezibell. He's needing Photon. Time warp is actually slowing down everything. It's preventing him from bringing down any of his units. He does warp down Stalkers on the low ground. There, the Phoenix is lifting up a large number of the Stalkers. The Stalkers of Dezibell are now down the ramp out of that time warp. It is done, and he is pushing, trying his hardest to push this back, but it looks like those Zealots for Chick are doing a number on Dezibell's Stalkers, and Dezibell does not have any Stalkers here defending at the moment. He's got 2 of them somewhere, but it looks like with that Photon Overcharge and the Phoenixes, he is going to be pushed back for now. Well, Chick waits to reinforce as and this pylon is in range of the Photon Overcharge and will continue taking those shots. There it is. He's trying to push back up. Nope. Eats a couple of those shots, goes right back on to that pylon, and it's slowed down a little bit, but Chick really has Dezibell choked off here. He does not have a whole lot of mining at this base, so it's not gaining him a huge advantage at the moment. A large number of Zealots are warped in. He needs to use those Phoenixes to try to lift up as many of the Stalkers as he can to try to make this as fair a fight as possible, as the Zealots have pushed the Stalkers back in a corner. They were choked up for a little while, and that helped the Stalkers deal with them, but now that is over. The Zealots have torn through all of the Stalkers for Dezibell, and Dezibell is trying to warp in behind as best he can, trying to bring in any number of Void Rays, but I don't know if he will totally have the time as those Zealots continue to tear through these Stalkers. Only ground units left for Chick. The only units for Dezibell at this moment are in the air. Nothing is on the production tab for either player. It's all on the units tab. The Void Ray is in production. There's a good Zealot warp in. The Void Ray trying to work on these Phoenixes as best it can, but it focuses down that one, and it does die as those Phoenixes take it out. The Phoenixes are lifting the last Stalkers, trying to make sure that there aren't enough, but there's another big warp in, and I don't know what Dezibell can hopefully do against this, as it looks like Chick is going to move up into the main base and start doing damage there, even putting a pylon on the high ground, so he continues sieging this base as best he can. There is a sentry in play, but that's not going to give the damage output that's really needed. It might give a good Guardian Shield. Force Field's trying to keep those Zealots off the Stalkers was a good call, but he does not quite have the damage to tear down this army as it looks like the Phoenixes are lifting as many of these Stalkers as they can. Oh, all the Stalkers are down. It's only, oh, 3 more reinforcing. It is primarily Zealots here for Chick. Chick has just a giant bank behind this. His minerals aren't being harassed. Dezibell trying to get these Zealots into a choke point so they can only hit one of his Stalkers, and it looks like he's able to do that pretty successfully there. But there's another big warp in the Zealots and Stalkers down here on the low ground for Chick, and Chick is ready to go for round number a lot at this point. So he's been sieging this location for a long time, but Dezibell has pushed him back as he takes out this pylon here, the closest reinforcing pylon. And it looks like Dezibell's forced Chick back, but Chick is expanding behind this. He will get that mineral income back up much sooner. And Dezibell pushing out very aggressively here. He knows he needs to keep up the aggression. He had a little bit better of an army, but no, he does not. In the end here, as those Stalkers meet those Phoenixes, and that was 6 Stalkers to the 5 of Chick. The 1 sentry can do good amounts of, protecting with those force fields and with those Guardian shields. But I don't think it will be enough to win a straight up fight here unless he can get in a beautiful choke point and take out all of these Zealots. In the meantime, back home, Dezibell is just trying to get anything on the map that he can, whereas Chick is going for the +1 armor, going for that Twilight Council. Is going to keep teching up here. Might go for the upgrades on his gateway units or go for any of the Templar units. We'll have to see what he chooses to go for as soon as this Templar Archive is done. Well, once he has the money and that Templar Archive is done, he is rebuilding his Mothership core that was sniped off during the last fight. Dezibell trying to go for the slightly unorthodox siege position. He does have 2 Void Rays finished, which will help a lot against these Stalkers. But with that +1 armor, these Stalkers will be, actually significantly more upgraded. They will be +1/+1 to the 0 upgrades for Dezibell. Chicken in a good spot here. He does have this base done. He is mining minerals off of it. He is mining a lot of minerals. So I would give the edge here to Chick. But with a good fight here, Dezibell is right back in things. That's the very nature of PvP. Except his own Zealots are caught behind the Stalker line. So the Zealots for Chick are able to just tear through some of those Stalkers. Most of the Stalkers are down. He's trying everything he can. Does hold a slight worker lead, and this might actually do it. He may have gotten the fight he needed. Those Void Rays are doing a lot of damage. The Phoenix is lifted efficiently. And it looks like the Void Rays are going to be what powers him through here. There's the Prismatic Alignment on the last one. He's trying to take down this Nexus. He wants it to be 1 base to 1 base. And there's the liftoff on the last of Chick's Stalkers, as he does have 2 more up in his main base, but no more army down here on the low ground as the Phoenixes just continue to try to take out this army. This base is sure to fall as Dezibell is keeping himself in this game, tossing down that force field to keep the probes in this little death way here, tearing down all the probes that were working down on the low ground. But that does also stand to allow Chick time to reinforce fully up on the high ground. But both players now with significantly reduced banks after they both lost a mining natural. So both players trying everything they can to keep units on the field right now. But Chick, with almost a 30 supply lead, has a clear advantage as he's out of mining. This is it. He has no more potential mining. He needs to win this fight and win convincingly, because this is the last army he can build for quite a while. It's going to be long distance mining to get any additional army up. Only one of those Stalkers was left on the low ground, while the other one was picked off. There is 2. There he is. Chick leaves the game, and Dezibell has done it after being in dire straits after losing his natural. So congratulations to Dezibell after an excellent defense. A costly defense, but an excellent defense, and then a good aggression up into the win. So once again, congratulations to Dezibell.